Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Random Crafty Acts, or welcome back if you haven't been here before. My name is Barb. This is a video in a playlist that I'm doing on working with card sketches. I'm part of a Facebook group, card making community. And one of the big things that seems to be under discussion is working with card sketches. That's one of the things a lot of us look at when we're looking for some new ideas. So I've done one of these before, and I will post it below. And then I'm hoping on this playlist to go through different card sketches and talk about them, and then make a couple of cards for you to watch. Okay, this is a card that I've made, so let me talk to you a little bit about how I found this idea, and then we'll make one. Okay, I started on Pinterest. If you go onto Pinterest and you just search by card sketches, you're going to have all kinds of things come up for you, okay? And one of them, I don't know, yes, there is. This one right here belongs to her. One of the places that comes up is Mary's CardzTV, cards with a Z. And when you click, I think when you click on the actual card sketch on Pinterest, you get her old site, which let me see if I've got a picture of what it looks like. Yeah, this is that page, what'll come up. It's in a blog spot, which, for as best I can tell, is what we used to use before we had some of the things we have now in social media and before we had YouTube. What you want to do, this page, while it is still there, is not what I would consider active. I don't think this, I think, is from March of 2025, and it had a video you could click on. But she has basically moved over to YouTube. Okay, but when you go to this page, you click on Mary's card sketches, and the whole all of her card sketches will show up like this. Okay, and there are 66 of them. All right, so let me set this aside. I've got a little bit of a script over here so that I don't forget to talk about something. Here's one of the things I like about Mary's site. And, oh, this was the other thing I wanted to show you. Okay, and I'll talk a little bit and leave this up in case you want to take a screenshot. This is the blogspot address, okay, CardzTV blogspot.com, okay? And again, when you're on that page, you want to click on Mary's card sketches to get all this card sketches to come up. Her current location, however, is on the YouTube channel, and if you just search for CardzTV with Mary, it will come up. But if you want to like put in the actual address and get to her main page, which is usually where I will start, it's CardCrazy09, at CardCrazy09. I think if you type all that in, you get that. But most of the time, I just search by CardzTV with Mary, and then click on the part that takes me to that page. Okay, home. All right, and then you'll see all the different videos that she's done. And she has, I think she said on here that they're going to be 3 a week now. Okay, so she'll show you the video, and I didn't go far enough in to see if you can still get to the card sketches, or if she's working with the card sketches on from her blog page. Okay, but I find her extremely helpful. All right, so I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to look at one. All right, here's what I like about Mary's. I get measurements. And in one of my previous videos, I talked about that I don't do math very well. I mean, if you put me on a card sketch where I've got to actually go in and figure out how these pieces come together, I'm sitting there with my calculator on my phone and a ruler, and frustration. So I'm usually looking for something where I've got the measurements. And so in this particular one, it looks like what she started with was an A2 card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then she worked with a 4-inch mat, which is a common size to come in from. So that's 4 by 5 1/4. And then she cut strips, a half a strip, a 3/4 inch strip, and a mat piece down here at the bottom that's 1 3/4 inches. And she laid those across this 4-inch piece, leaving this open up at the top. And then she used a 2 3/4 inch circle to put here for to put her embellishment or sentiment or whatever in. Okay, so I did a little bit of, I made mine a little bit different. Oh, and this is sketch 29, and here is where you can find this one. Okay, I'll give you just a second with that in case you're taking screenshots. All right, here's what I did. I have a tendency, you'll see when you follow mine, that this little black edge in here is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, so I'm going to pull one of those out over here. All right, and I put that on my A2 card. This is a piece of 8 1/2 by 11 paper laid landscape-wise in my guillotine cutter, and I cut it at 5 1/2, and then I get 2 cards out of each piece. And some people score those on a score pad. I don't. And yes, you watched me. I do tend to just drag my fingernail down there. Okay, so there's my card base. Okay. There's that piece of mat. All right, and then what I did is I took a piece of pattern paper that I had that had these shades in it, kind of almost like rainbow, and I cut them in accordance with this. I cut 1 3/4, 1 3/4, and 1 1/2. And I went ahead and cut them, I think I cut them at 4. And that worked because then these fit inside this and left the border around. And then instead of leaving this piece, the whole piece in the back, I ended up cutting that at 2 1/8. Okay. And I cut it off of the top, since it was the yellow up at the top. And since I had cut this at 4 and I was working with a piece of 6 by 6, I had this strip over at the side, and I took my 3-inch nested die and laid it this way, which wouldn't work quite as well with this unless I wanted, you know, would probably find something else to use to make that, and then use that to make cut it off and use that to make the circle up at the top. Okay. And then I had these little flowers that I put here, and I had a sentiment strip that I put across this one. Okay. That's how I did that. All right. So let's not just talk about it. I'm going to grab the sentiment strip while you're looking at that. If you have questions, if you'll leave them below. I can put that, which one is I used a note to say hello. Okay. All right, just a note to say hello. We're going to use that. I have a stack of flowers over here, so we're going to use those. Okay. Now, rather than using that piece I was showing you, one of the things I did then was I went through some pre-made, we're setting this right over here so that we don't mess up when we start cutting, These are some backgrounds that I had made. I'm pretty sure, I don't remember exactly, but this feels like, this is my like 65-pound white paper that I think it was almost scrap. Anyway, this is watercolors, and I had gotten a new watercolor set, and so I cut a bunch of these, and I made a whole bunch of, I've got a whole stack of them over here. So I'm going to work with that. And then a couple of them were just this color, and I'm thinking I could cut that sun out of the top of that. Let's see if I don't think I set anything else out that I thought I would like to use with that. Okay, so we'll try that. All right, so let's just start. Okay, we want to start by cutting, since we've got our 4 1/8 by 5 3/4, we want to start by cutting the 4-inch panel. Okay, so I'm just going to lay this right here at 4 inches. And go ahead and take that little piece off the side, and I'm going to hang on to it just in case. All right, so the bottom piece is 1 by 3/4. Okay, so we're going to take that and do 1 3/4. All right. And that will go down here. Okay. And then the next piece is 3/4, which I have to get my other cutter out because my guillotine doesn't work very well at this point. So 3/4. That's 3/4. Okay. We'll turn that way so that the colors break there. Okay, and then 1/2 inch. Put that there. And then 2 1/8. There's my 1/8 mark right there. And that's another little strip that may come in handy. So we'll leave that over here. Okay. So let's see if this works. I made the mistake of cleaning up. So nothing's where I thought it would be. Okay, so let's try gluing these down. I learned how to do a lot of this, of what I know how to do, by working with card sketches. And I think that card sketches give us a real opportunity to get a feel for like what size pieces go where. And there are multiple ways to make cards. I mean, we all know that. And if you've got like some really amazing pattern paper, that can work really well. Also, if you've got like an intricate die set, you can, the main part of your card will probably end up being related to the die set. Okay, notice that, see, because I'm using wet glue, I've got just a little bit of what I call wiggle room. Oh, and that works really well right there. Okay, and so what I've noticed, this is only the second card I've made with this card sketch. Notice that if the spot here is just a little bit bigger, That works okay, because we're going to put something up against that. And I try to make sure, when I've worked with anything that's got watercolor paper on it, sometimes I have a little trouble getting it to stick down. And this is not watercolor paper, it's just I had watercolored on that paper. Okay. All right, so I know I'm going to put that there. Now we need to deal with our circle. Okay, so let's see what I've got over here in my stack as far as what some of my options might be. These have brown in it. Those have pinks in it. I don't like that. That's a solid orange. It's more yellow. I need to keep you just hanging out there. Let's just use this yellow. Okay, I'm gonna pause the video while I actually die cut because my machine's not set up. Okay. So let's see, that's too big. So, you know, what I'll do is I'll set this here, and then I'm just gonna take a pencil and make just a slight mark there. And then line that up. I'm going to take it this way so that I can use that straight edge there against one of my lines so that I don't end up with a crooked piece. And then I've got one of these paint erasers. It's a sand eraser that reminds me of if you're ancient like I am, and you used to actually have a typewriter that typed with ink and you had to correct on that. It reminds me of that. Okay, and then I'm going to take a really small tipped, and I'm going to put some black marking in these holes to kind of make it look like stitching around the edge of my sun there. Okay. Don't know that I like that quite as well. I hadn't thought about that when I came up with this plan. All right. Got two of these flowers. One of them is bigger than the other. That's the small one. I think I like that one better because this turned out to be so big. I don't like the idea of using two. I've got this white edge around there. Yes, that's okay. The other thing I could do would be dig through my ink pads and see if I could find an ink to edge that with. So what I would do would be make a note that that's something to take a look at. Another thing that we could do would be to go along each of these and do this little line so it looks stitched. Okay, that would be an option. And so what I would do then is on my card sketch, I would make those notes like consider putting the sentiment on the sun. Okay. Consider darkening this maybe with, I don't know what I would put on there, because I'm thinking of the colors I've got, and I can't think of anything that I've got up there that would, up there because it's on a shelf behind me. Okay. All right, and then this is the stamp that my granddaughter designed and gifted to me. It says Random Acts of Kindness Studio. I'm not a business. She just knows that I'm into random acts of kindness. Okay. All right. So that's how this came out, and I'm going to set this over here. Okay. In case you are, again, looking to take a screenshot. All right. Yeah, I really like the way this looks better than that. So that's something that I would take into consideration when I make another one. Okay. And that's working with a card sketch. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would appreciate it if you would do so. It helps. I'm just trying to get, yeah, if you watch me, I'm going to put these on the inside of this card, so it's got a little bit of decoration on the inside. It helps. I do this for beginning card makers. I mean, this is how I learned how to do everything that I know how to do. And so all of my videos have hashtags on them that for beginning card makers. And so the more people I can reach has to do with how many subscribers I have. So if you could subscribe, it doesn't cost you anything, but I would appreciate it. All of my cards are donated to Cards for Kindness, which you will find a link for below. All right, and I'll link these places for CardzTV. All right, thank you for watching the video. Hope you enjoy making the cards.